Welcome back, everybody. Today we are talking about Verasity VRA. A ton of new news coming out today, and it has just skyrocketed the price. So we're going to break down what actually happened, what that new announcement is, break down the effect of that, and then go into some price and chart analysis of Verasity VRA. So let's dive right in. So the major announcement that had, volume kind of going like crazy. You can see up 130%. We're up almost 9% today on that daily candle. And obviously, corresponding the market cap followed suit. But the big update just about 8 hours ago was Verasity finally announced that they are officially integrated into the proof of view ad tech solution via BrightCove, via the BrightCove platform, which is one of the biggest enterprise video developers. So they do videos for Disney, a bunch of other groups are on that platform as well. But essentially, they rolled out VeraViews finally as a standalone product. So VeraViews is this solution that essentially holds the most potential for VRA. This is kind of what they've patented. This is their, golden goose, so to speak. So it essentially detects ad fraud. If you're familiar with VRA, you've heard of this already, but it detects ad fraud and then eliminates that ad fraud because that does cost a lot of money to particular ad buyers and people trying to run ads to get traffic. A huge issue right now is that a ton of that ad spend is going to fraudulent clicks and other fraudulent means via scammers and bots, etc. So VeraViews can be used for publishers and for advertisers, and this is basically set up to start receiving leads. You can see Talk to Sales. They're starting to now basically tap into this revenue arm of Verasity, which is super exciting. And the goal here is obviously to maintain a higher ROI for anyone running ads, which is a lot of businesses. And just going into a little bit behind of why this is such a cool opportunity, not only for Verasity, but just in the space alone. If we look here, worldwide digital ad spend is expected to exceed $571 billion in 2022. Now, of that $571 billion, it's expected that they're going to suffer $81 billion in losses in 2022 due to fraudulent clicks, fraudulent ad spend, and that's expected to increase again. So it increased from 15%. It increased from $65 billion in 2021 to now $81 billion projected in 2022, and that number is expected to cross $100 billion by 2023. So a massive market for Verasity to tap into here. If they're able to save billions or millions of dollars for clients, this is going to take off like a rocket. I cannot stress enough how important what they're doing is, but obviously it's all in the execution. And that's what Mark, who's the CEO, founder of Verasity, has kind of been talking about the last few days. So this is kind of just detailing the effect of BrightCove and what they do, right? So BrightCove is the largest enterprise video platform, tens of thousands of publishers, like we said, Disney, BBC, Sky worldwide. And so now VeraViews is essentially integrated into this platform. And so any publisher that is a part of BrightCove will now have access to this Verasity add-on, which is right here. And, a BrightCove marketplace user could come and connect right now and start using Verasity. So right now, these next 2 quarters, critical spot for this project. We need to start seeing adoption roll in. There need to not be, a bunch of hiccups, right, in terms of the implementation, the integration, the experience for a client, because what Verasity is promising is no doubt very impactful for a business. It's going to solve a lot of problems. The biggest issue is going to be integrating it. Will the adoption come, and how will it actually be used in practice, right? And to give you guys a little bit more background on BrightCove, I feel like not many people cover this, but it's a legit company, guys. This is a public company. They're doing, 54 to 55 million in revenue a quarter, meaning they're over $210 million in revenue each year. And they're also basically grossing a lot of profit. They're looking at a 67% profit margin right now. So a very well-run business. Definitely not just some, random player out there that's also in the ad space or also in the video platform space. BrightCove is legit, and it's as legit as it gets. So a very interesting partnership. Hopefully this, starts to take hold and we start to see adoption come from this partnership, because this is massive. Having it as a standalone product, having it easily accessible now to anyone on BrightCove, thousands, tens of thousands of publishers. If they want to start using this and it starts going well, look out, because Verasity will do some incredible things the rest of this year and into next year. Now, As we start to get to talk about price, I want to hop over here to the chart. And this is the daily Verasity chart. And last time we talked about this, we actually were talking about how critical this basically 0.6 of a cent marker was. Today, with that news, guys, we have officially broken that. You can see right here, we had those 3 strong daily candles, and then today with this news breaking, we were up almost, we're up past 0.7 of a cent. So very, very impressive day. Now, the key is going to be what happens next, right? Today, very, very clear daily candle. Nothing's really going to change that. We've done so well today. But now the question is, can we come back and hold this 0.6 of a cent as support? If we can do that and start holding this as a range between 0.6 of a cent and 0.7 of a cent, we are set up really, really nicely to continue this momentum with this great news and see as adoption starts to come. If we start getting adoption metrics from Mark, quarter after quarter saying, hey, X amount of publishers and big names came on this quarter or this month. Here's what we have to look forward to. Here's the kind of revenue they're going to be bringing in. Things like that. If we get follow-up news, but the chart is able to stay somewhat consolidated, let's say between 0.7 of a cent, 0.6 of a cent, it might range 15 to 20% at any given week or any given time frame. And so if we can stay consolidated above this 0.6 of a cent level, I think we're really, really holding on strong. Obviously, if we lose that 0.6 of a cent level, we're likely looking at 0.5 or 0.4 of a cent here. This is our previous established support before we got this kind of most recent pump. So I'd be wary of that level. And then obviously below that, our kind of lowest of the low support would be 0.4 of a cent. And if we lose that, we're looking at going back to one of our previous resistance here before we took off in February of 21. So to the upside and to the downside, we have a couple options here in terms of where we could be headed. The one thing I would note on the daily candle is that we have just in the last couple hours reached the point of oversold. If you can see down here on the RSI, overbought. So this means that typically you're not going to see the RSI go further than where it is. So typically what we'd expect is some sort of a resistance here, followed by a little bit of a check-in price, and then hopefully a rebound, which is what we were referencing before. But you can notice down here on the RSI, we rarely get overbought. Just VRA as a token rarely gets overbought. Here it didn't get overbought, fell dramatically after that. Here it didn't get overbought, dramatically fell after that. And I'll pull down just so you can see those times, both at these peaks. And then the only other time we've been officially overbought, we weren't officially overbought at these 2 peaks and we still crashed. The only time that we were officially overbought last was at our all-time high, and we all know what happened after that. So I'd be very, very weary in the immediate short term. I think, we probably won't go too much further today past 0.7 of a cent. But looking into the mid to long term, I think we're set up again really, really nicely. I would just watch out. I wouldn't necessarily FOMO in at this point. We're going to have plenty of time. I think we're going to come back to down here, consolidate a little bit. And folks are going to be waiting on some of that good news of who are these publishers, who's using VeraViews, who's coming to the ecosystem, and who's implementing it successfully. So I think we have, a lot to look forward to. I think right now, our next really major target that we're going to have to hit is up here at 0.8 of a cent. So we're going to need, another, let's say 20-25% pump to get past our next major resistance level. So, there's a good chance that we see this kind of break down here, maybe consolidate a little here, test again, maybe test that as support, and then maybe come up here slowly, test this a couple times, and finally stand on top. So to the upside, we have 0.8 of a cent in terms of the midterm that we want to get to. Longer term, really, it's going to be this 2.5 cent mark before we see, let's say, a full-on U-shape reversal. I think this is when we can actually start getting more bullish on VRA and altcoins, just in terms of a full reversal into more of a bull cycle, as opposed to a mini pump in a larger bear cycle, which is, I think, what we're experiencing right now. But then again, obviously, I think it pays dividends to focus on what's coming up here in the midterm and kind of being smart of how to play this pump. So hopefully that gave you guys some good information. Super, super exciting day for VRA, for the technology, for all the holders. So let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.